Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yes, sir, we're back. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, After Buzzers, and welcome to the first season, second episode of I was about to say the wrong show. How to get away with murder. It's all her fault. Who is her? I don't know, but I know who I am. I'm Thaddeus Massey, your host, and joining me today is...
Hey guys, I'm Jillian Leff.
Hey guys, I'm JB Zimmerman.
And hey guys, I'm Stef Z.
Steph, JB, and Jillian are here, and they're going to instill some wisdom about what happened this episode. There were a lot of interesting things. I like the structure. I just want to start off by saying I like the structure of the show. I like where they're going. There's obviously going to be a case every episode, you know, to give us tidbits about the big murder picture, or the big murder case, or the two murder cases that have this direct personal impact on Annalise and her students. So I think they're trying to motivate the imaginative juices of the audience, so that way we see if we pick up any nuggets about the big two cases and how they.
So it's the three going on at all times.
Right.
Speaking of the audience, I think we all need to give a huge shout out to our awesome fans on YouTube.
Yes.
Thank you so much for liking our video, for watching it. It has like 20,000 views or something. That's amazing. I don't even know how many people downloaded it on iTunes. Yeah. It's awesome. We love your theories. Thaddeus was really good about answering most of you. Good job, bud.
I mean, I love you guys. I love you.
There were some amazing theories.
It went everywhere. There's so many comments.
Yeah, we're going to definitely talk about some of the theories that you guys came up with, because some of them were like, I was mind blown by some of the theories. I was like, oh my gosh, that was really good theory.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's
that's
nice.
very possible.
But I think it's nice, you know, we kind of get to sit back after the show and watch the comments roll in, because the things you guys have to remember is here, we are literally in a screening room, and then we run in here and we're recapping the show, and we have the one set of notes that we took, and I know Steph rewatched the show. I rewatched some of the show. Yeah. We missed a whole lot of SHIT. So let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Okay, so we got another murder case, and it's Marjorie St. Vincent, I believe she was possibly murdered by...
Well, she definitely
was
murdered.
But she was possibly murdered by her husband.
Right.
Who is this hunter / whatever he is.
He's a very...
no pun intended, slash.
He's a weirdo. I'll say
He's a little eccentric.
That's a nicer word.
Yeah,
that's a more politically correct word.
I feel PC because I have a suit on today.
Oh, okay.
I know you do. You're
so
super
fancy.
PC today.
Yeah, I'm really being PC.
Real quick though, I just want to rewind 1 second. In watching it again, and in an article that Jillian found, the writers, they were saying there are little tidbits in those fast forward sections. So something that I noticed that I don't believe we noticed in the first one was that when we see Sam, like we clearly see the rug opens and it's Sam's body at the end with the fire. Yeah. But we do see that Sam is moving with two people before that. So it's not like they walk into a body laying on the ground. You saw that too, right? Yeah. So I think we kind of skimmed over that last time, which means that somebody killed him. He wasn't...
You're saying one of the five?
Maybe... I mean, and clearly somebody killed him because he's dead. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's not like they were just called in to remove a body. Because I think we were going there last episode. We were saying maybe Annalise put them up to, like, you got to go take care of this. But I feel like there was a little bit more. You don't think it had anything to do with Annalise?
I don't know. I mean, especially from the stuff that we saw in this episode. I'm thinking more and more,
Rebecca.
Especially because Michaela was so nervous about calling Annalise when the police officer came to the door. You know, well, obviously she wasn't nervous. She played it cool in front of him, but everyone else was freaking out. So that leads me to believe that she's not involved, and now it's really all about Rebecca and Wes, who we know are definitely banging now. I mean, come on. Like,
well, no, that's a really good point, because if
I don't know.
they were protecting Annalise, she wouldn't mind getting a call at that time.
She
She's
would
like,
play
okay,
along.
we'll save my butt right now.
No, but she would, because then she would be part of
that
it.
would tie her.
Yeah,
more.
then
That's
she would
like
be
more
tied
evidence
to it.
tie
Like
her.
they
But
knew that
still at
she knew
her
they were
house.
going
Like,
over.
It wouldn't be an extra like, oh, well, now she's a suspect because of that call.
Oh, I
They were already
disagree,
at-
because it could have happened in the house, but if she had an alibi or was away, but if they called her and then she knew that they were there, it's two completely different.
We need to find out where she is.
But
That's
that's
Yeah.
if they got caught, though.
If this
And
show should be called
the
If
call would only be.
in parentheses.
So
No, I'm
she
saying
could call
if they did
if you
call
get away with
her.
murder,
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
How do you get away with, if you can get away with
Wait,
it?
say Annalise was in on it, did send them there to her house. They were getting at the body. They call her to make sure that the cop knows that they're like should be there. She would just be like, "Yep, I told them to be there."
Right, but
Go
then she's
away,
an
police
accessory.
officer.
Like because then she knows that they were there, and then why wouldn't she know that there was a dead body in the rug?
Fair enough. But also, I think the bigger picture is that she is so good at what she does. There's no way that she would be like, my law students can take care of this. for
Listen,
me."
in the
Yeah.
article, it was Entertainment Weekly that I posted
Right.
on YouTube. I'll retweet it out tonight, so you guys follow me on Twitter at Jillian Leff, and I'll tweet it. It said, and this was from the writer, that there are many nuggets that are in there and dropped that take you to take you to the opposite side of what things actually are.
Right.
Makes you think that this person is involved when really they have nothing to do with it. And I think that it was it was a bait and switch for me in this episode, because all of episode 1, I thought, oh, this is Annalise pulling the strings. She's the puppeteer. And then all of a sudden we find out room 203, Rebecca is in there.
Yeah, but we thought that.
We kinda
I
hinted
thought
to it. We
that
kinda-
as soon as we
right.
saw that flashback, I
Yeah.
knew it was that. But also in that article that the writer wrote, and yeah, guys, you got to check this article out. It's really cool. They break down everybody and give like the odds of them being the murderer, so it's super cool. But in that article, it actually says that they're seeing that people are thinking things are clues that aren't. So how do you know?
Right.
It's the if.
Well, I think that's the writing of the show.
Maybe
so
that's
awesome.
counterintelligence, and they're just putting that article out there.
I mean, they
just
are
to
still
tell the
filming
audience
right
off.
now,
There you
so
go.
That's true too. I
They
wonder
are.
if this is one of those shows that has like 3 or 4 possible season finales, and it's just gonna, you know what I mean? Like sometimes the audience catches on to something, they're like, oh, we got to turn it over here.
Right.
It's like Clue.
Yeah,
I think
Colonel
right now,
Mustard,
right
the
now,
candlestick in the
at
library.
least for the first
Exactly.
few episodes, it's going to be one of those
Mrs.
things
Peacock.
you can just
Yeah.
continuously throw out
right.
potential possible theories that
I
could all
love it.
be like, I don't know, maybe
Right.
kind of thing.
Right. I mean, I love that. I love the fact that it's so rich in the story. There's so many different things that can go on. Like, anything could happen. I was kind of worried with the format of the show. They had 2 timelines going, and I was worried that it would run out. Like,
Right.
we would find out too soon what they're doing in the future. I guess it's the present. And, we would lose kind of that. They revealed so much. I was like, how can they keep doing this every episode?
Listen, something's
Yeah.
working, because I got the
Oh, no, it's-
ratings
yeah,
on
exactly.
Friday morning, and it was 19.8 million on the first view. Non-DVR viewers.
Man.
The
And
premiere.
I was actually going to
Yeah,
mention,
but-
I was going to save this for news and gossip, but the show was actually the #1 DVR show as well. So a lot of people are
Yeah.
on top of this.
This is one of
how to
those
Get Away with
shows
Murder.
too that people are gonna watch 2 and 3 and 4 times, and I don't know if the ratings calculate that. You know what I mean? Like on the DVR, how many people watch it? Because that'd be interesting to see. But I feel like this is one of those shows where I'm gonna go back every week and watch it.
It's
And-
probably per account, so you can watch as many times as you want. Obviously.
Yeah.
They probably like
but it
calculate
is
per
because it's
account.
like you're like, what I miss? What I
You have to like
miss?
go
Nice.
back, and then you have to watch it again. So anybody who's watched the episode with us just now, like we just watched it,
Yeah.
and they're gonna want to go back and like we're gonna go back and look at it again and be like,
Yeah.
okay, oh, I missed that. Okay, I missed that. It's one of those shows where you definitely have to do that.
Yeah.
It definitely draws and pulls the audience, it sucks the audience in, and you're just like, okay, there's something. Oh, I didn't see that last time. I didn't catch that.
Right. I mean,
Maybe
not just
that's-
the subtleties and stuff, but also, I mean, how much they're putting in that we don't notice.
Right.
Like, the thoughts, like, let's set up something so in future episodes we can, it's like planting the seeds. I would love to see behind the scenes stuff.
But, like, speaking
Cast.
of that, like, who ever thought that they were going to go back to the coin toss?
amazing.
That was amazing.
I thought that was done. I was like, oh, it's a done deal. I trusted Wes. I trusted him.
But that all goes back to the beginning about his story from the beginning. Now is completely shady. Like coming in 2 days beforehand, he was on the wait list. He got in. She knew him. She didn't know him. He got the email. He wasn't prepared.
Well, hold
now
on.
he's
at the top of the episode. It's all about lying. And Annalise says, do you know who anyone really is?
Right. I think Wes is her long lost son. I'm gonna say it. I don't know.
Somebody else had that same theory on
Asher.
somebody else had that theory as well.
Yeah, he did say. I believe there's a connection between Wes and her, and it's there.
He could be her and Sam's son, and she gave him up for adoption. They who knows?
Something happened. Could be something happened because I don't know. It's just crazy. Like clearly, he knows too much. She or maybe they're just trying to make me think that, and I'll be totally wrong and shocked next episode.
I don't know because so Asher said that in this episode.
I know, so
and
maybe
then,
I'm wrong.
You know,
damn it.
Are they trying to throw us off?
That's a nugget that potentially probably would throw us off.
But
or maybe,
to go back to
maybe
it,
because Asher's so like douchey or whatever, you're like,
oh, I don't think he's
Asher.
douchey. But to go back to it, the thing that we're talking about, you guys out there, so that you know, because sometimes we go on tangents, is
Shut
that
up,
we see that when they do the coin toss, it's heads we go back for the body, tails we don't, and he flips it and it's heads. I mean, he flips it, he says heads and it's actually tails.
Right.
And then we have him talking to Rebecca in the convenience store saying, at first they didn't go for it. And then I got them too. So clearly Rebecca knows that him and the other students are all in this together.
Well, I think that we're going to save our predictions. I don't want to get...
It's all
I don't want to
predictions.
get...
This show is like all predictions.
Oh my God.
Well,
they're all involved.
Let's talk about the case at hand.
Okay.
With the St. Vincent's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you guys feel like character-wise with Annalise that she is a little bit diabolical? Because there were some moments where you see her, I mean, especially after they won the case, like how she walked away smiling, like she just helped a murderer get off, even though...
But he didn't do it. He didn't do that.
Still a murderer.
This one, yeah, but...
He's still a murderer. And she's happy that she won, but even though she's happy that she won, you know, sometimes, you know, in a lot of these, you know, shows where they always show the attorney, like, even if they know they represented somebody who's like a killer, and they you know, they show it, they tell them later that they're a killer. It's like they're still like disgusted, but they're bound by the fact that there's like this client attorney privilege. So she's zealously representing her client. You know, you're zealously representing her client.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's very twisted. To me, it's like just the ultimate win. Like if you know that your client is guilty and you still get them off, it's like, I mean, how can you do better than that?
But the fact that what she's doing is making murderers get away with it is crazy. And like,
for sure.
My brother's actually, he was a defense attorney for a long time, and I would see how he was kind of affected sometimes by, you know what I mean? Like what maybe some of the people he had to represent. She shows no apologies for that. She's like, and you see it even before when she has the moment with Sam where she's upset because she thinks she's gonna lose. It's not to her, there's no morals, there's just I win or I lose.
Right.
I hate to draw comparisons between two of Shonda's shows, but it reminded me a lot of Scandal because you're essentially they're both crisis managers. You know, Olivia's a crisis manager, Annalise is a crisis manager, and in the end, regardless of what happened, they are hoping for a clean slate for the person, you know, in the end. So it reminded me a lot of that because of the twisted nature of everything.
Right.
So like in the end, we find out through a whirlwind of things that Max murdered the first wife, didn't murder the second wife, and it was actually his daughter, and it was him covering up for his daughter.
But it was brilliant how they came to that conclusion. I mean, if you think about it, besides the fact of how creepy was the reenactment when he asked Connor to get on the bed and he started stabbing him. Right. I mean, clearly not really, like he was reenacting the stabbing, but he got crazy.
Right. I mean, when we were watching that, I was like, why was he so specific in where each stab wound was? I mean,
well,
it was
because
like
he read the report.
Well, and because now we see later
like,
he knew because he was skilled and he wouldn't have done it that way.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, those I think were the types of breadcrumbs that they're leaving to sort of make a roller coaster ride while you watch the episode.
Yeah.
And even the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. Did any of us, when we saw the daughter come in, think that she did it?
No.
Definitely not.
No. And if any of you out there say you knew that,
You're liars.
Lies.
Liars.
And then the nice little comment about her and Wes having babies. They had pretty
Yeah,
kids.
that was so creepy. I
I'm
was
like,
what?
it's probably
All
true
right.
though.
I mean, I
They're pretty
guess.
good.
I mean, they probably would have pretty kids, but the dad saying that.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Yeah,
That
he's
just
like,
that
oh,
just
I
goes
was
to show you how eccentric. he
That's
is.
I wonder
the guy
if
I
the
was
dad
talking
knew.
about. Yeah.
I wonder
It's
if the
like,
dad
what?
knew. I mean, I guess it's irrelevant, but I wonder if he knew that's why he got her to come. So that he could be like the ultimate, like, you think you can pull one over on me? Like, I've got you figured out.
Right.
Yeah. But also, I mean, Annalise has been known. She did it last week. She did it again this week, where she knows the truth, but she holds the truth. And she goes about it her own way. Because 2 weeks in a row, it happened where Frank had the right information that, I guess, proved the client's guilt.
Yeah.
Right.
And they held it, and she solved it in her own way.
Well, didn't that happen again? Didn't we see the flashback till right before the end where they handed her the paper and the when Wes went when Wes went to get the arrest report, that it said in there that it was like they had that information. Did they not? Am I crazy?
I don't. Well,
I
I
think the
know
information
Frank
that they
had
had-
it.
That
They
was from
had
the email
they had that
transmission from Stanford.
information,
Right.
yeah. And then from that report, they got that Connor got the IT guy to find out that it was from Stanford.
Right.
So I'm not sure if she knew beforehand or if they showed it after. I can't remember. We
Yeah,
just
see,
watched this.
I really want to rewatch it because they flip flop with the timeline
Yeah,
so often.
but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so did Frank and Annalise know that? Because it seemed that when they were walking out with Mr. St. Vincent, that she knew, like, she was like, what are you going to do now? Like, she knew. In that case, they didn't say that the daughter did it, but
No.
Annalise knew.
Okay,
Once he
so-
was not guilty, she knew who did it.
When
Well, it seemed like Wes is the one that knew who did it. That's what they indicated. That
well, yeah, he had a sense.
he
but
had a sense and kind
when-
of was like,
Right.
oh.
When Sam and Annalise were in her office and Frank came in and said, "You have to see this," and he had a black book, it was the information. It was
Right.
all of it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But that
after they
was
were
before
together.
the case.
Exactly.
So she knew. Everyone knew. She knew that he knew. You know, Max knew that Annalise knew. Everyone knew, but
Well, not
they
everyone.
Still,
Not
they
everyone.
still
Yeah,
got him.
no.
You know, they still got her off because in the end, it's
Laurel
her daughter.
found out and had an epiphany.
But
Laurel was
what
able to
was the
contribute to the investigation.
right? What was the Elise? Who was the daughter's
Eloise.
name?
Eloise.
Yeah.
She didn't know that they all knew.
No.
Okay.
I think she had a feeling because Wes kept, creeper stare. He was like looking at her.
He's like, whoa.
He was like leaning and looking.
Right.
thinking
Yeah.
about their
And then
kids.
afterwards, Wes
thinking
goes
about
and
kids.
tells her, and she's like, "That's a good theory." So they
Yeah.
knew. Yeah. Yeah. It's all twisted.
But
it's crazy 'cause it's- go ahead.
Sorry. I think that shows how good Wes's instincts are because he wasn't privy to that info. I think.
Right.
Like he never
Right.
saw the notebook. Like that was very top level. Like need to know.
Because it's in
info.
the blood from Annalise.
Exactly, and like for him to have figured that out, I think
It's in the
is
genes.
just proves to Annalise that like he's worthy of being on the team. Like he can see
Apple doesn't
something,
fall far
even
from
though
the
they're like
tree.
she's got her own people working.
Right.
Like, he's
It's-
also figuring stuff out.
It's so hard to have organized thoughts when talking
know, it's
about this
crazy.
show because imagine us like we're sitting at like having lunch. Like this is how we would normally talk. It's like it's so hard to keep everything straight and
Yeah.
besides that court case, there were so many other things that were sort of, I guess, uncovered. Nothing's been resolved. But we do find out a little bit more about Sam and Annalise's relationship, which I think was really important.
Right. And that Sam's a big fat liar.
Yeah, he's shady.
Yeah. And that he's cheated once before
Yes.
with a
Right.
different student.
And we did learn that.
We did learn that.
And we did learn that Annalise is not an exception to the rule of falling for the I'm going to sneak into your cell phone and see what's going on in your
True.
cell phone.
Well, yeah,
Which to me, I would think that she'll be above that. That's actually something that I would expect Olivia to do from Scandal. That's not something I would expect Annalise to do on
But
the
it,
show.
but it is because she's cheating too. I mean, maybe if she wasn't, she would have that trust. But because she's also breaking it on her end, I think she's also jealous and doesn't know how to control it.
Well, what she said
Well,
to Nate.
She has to be insecure to some degree,
Right,
especially
exactly.
since it's happened before. But yeah,
Right.
just like what she said to Nate. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Jillian.
what she said to Nate, she's like, I forget what his girlfriend or wife's
Nia.
name is. Nia? Mm-hmm. She said, well, when Nia asks you the same questions, what do you say to her? Like,
Right.
of course I'm worried. And I think that it would be different if she wasn't a cheater. I don't think she would feel those same insecurities. And maybe if he didn't cheat, she wouldn't feel this way, and she wouldn't be so curious as to look in his cell phone.
Right. I think that's a different thing, though, completely. I think when she's saying it to Nate, and I could be totally wrong, but this is just where my head went. When she's saying it to Nate, I think she's actually scared. I think that she knows that Sam's cheating, but I think that she's actually scared that Sam killed her. So she's scared for her well-being.
So do you think she
telling
Nate?
So you think she might be scared, like, and telling Nate, like, okay, if something happens
I'm not
to happen,
covering it up. Like,
that,
this is an alibi type.
Yeah.
Or no, if something happens to her, that
I
she's
think
dropping
worried,
the seed
I think
and her.
she's worried about her.
Yeah, she's worried about herself, her own
well-being,
safety.
because she knows that that their relationship's terrible. That's why she goes back to him and like they make love, whatever you want to call it, what they're doing. You know what I mean? Because clearly they're not in love. They're both cheating, but. I think she goes back to feel that closeness because she wants to feel safe, and we actually see her cry at the end. And I think that tear at the end is actually the first honest tear we've seen.
I think so too.
Interesting.
Okay.
So I don't think that
definitely
has
when
to
she
do-
went to go see Nate, she was definitely
Manipulating.
Yes, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Sucker. I was like, sucker.
She's so diabolical.
Yeah.
She's being so diabolical right now. Like, but it's gonna unfold, but you can see it. Even though they're not, they're showing it and they're not showing it. They're just kind of
I just need to bring it back. I need to bring it back to last week when news of Lila's death, right? Lila,
yes. Lila Stangard.
Lila's death was on the news, and Sam was drinking. He was calming his nerves with a cocktail, sitting in front of the TV. I think it's like all a very fishy situation. We don't know how it's connected.
A little bit.
Well, it's totally
possibly
fishy, and we kind of skimmed over it going to the whole Nate thing, was that we see her, she goes into the cell phone, and it's a break of trust and whatever, for whatever reason, but she goes in twice. And the first time, when she searches the emails for Lila's name, there's a whole bunch of them, and they're signed just L. Like, what student to teacher writes an email like, oh, I'm going to be late, or this, that, and the other thing, asking for an excuse, just like L. Like, there's clearly a relationship there.
The
and then
one
when
that
she
you're
goes,
having sex with.
right. And then...
Didn't they also say she was like one of his best students, though?
They're very close to
Very close.
Yeah.
But she said that.
Yeah,
and
she
then when
did
she
say
went
that.
back in the cell phone, all the emails are gone.
Well, she went.
Like, if you're
she went
deleting
back.
your emails and texts,
Yeah,
what you
because
hiding?
he knows that she went in his phone when he was
Yeah.
in the shower. He knows already.
Yeah,
They've been together. They're married. He knows. She's like, oh, everything okay? No, everything's fine. Everything's good. Okay.
Indian
he goes
sounds
back in
great.
there. Right. Indian sounds great. He knows, like, she's going through my phone right now. I got to go through and erase all this shit. That's what he had to do. He went and erased it.
Yeah.
Tell me he knows.
And I don't know. I think he knows, but I don't think he knows she
He's a
saw
psychology
one.
professor, right?
She might
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Right, but he might know that she's going to go in the phone, but I don't think he knows that she saw something.
He knows she
I
saw
think
it.
he
She's
has
an
a-
attorney.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She's an attorney. He's a psychologist. He knows what she's going to do, and he knows what she's found out. Plus, they're married on top of that, him being a psychologist. So he knows what she found. He knows how good she is at doing her job.
No, because if he knows she found it, then he would have just left the emails or deleted a few. But to make them all go away, knowing that she's going to go back in, that looks guilty.
And then he emptied his trash.
Yeah, that's guilty, man.
Guilty of what?
Dude,
Something.
if he knows that she saw something and there was like 10 of them, if you want to go and erase like the 2 that are really bad,
But he
if
admitted
you're
to
gonna
sleeping
go-
with her already, right?
No, he said he didn't sleep with her. He said that there was a different student. So I don't agree that he knows that she knows.
Can we just take a moment? Can we also take a moment to appreciate Viola Davis's side eye in this episode? Because every time
And her hair.
Sam turned away from her, she
Hair
was
was looking
like
good.
Yeah.
rolling her eyes, putting her head down. She was like she didn't want to touch him. It was like he was disgusting to her every time he walked away.
Right.
Yeah, her hair's looking good too. She's just, her presence in this show.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I alone in saying, like, she's just got such a great presence.
She does.
She's doing all those things. It's sexy. It's smart.
It's the walk.
Yeah, it's just everything. It's
She
confident.
has this very distinct walk.
I love her.
But yeah, it's interesting to see her in such a power position with her students, and then you were saying that she was manipulating Nate.
Yes.
And it's interesting that she can adapt to each situation and still kind of control the room.
Right.
I mean, she was playing very different cards with Nate, but still, I think you were right, where she was like still manipulating it to what she wanted, like that outcome.
She definitely has to do that, and you got to think, okay, who in their position that I am close enough with will believe me and has enough power and leverage in their situation to help me or be a instrument for me to use over here on this side. Because at the end of the day, even though she was sleeping with this guy and now it's her boyfriend Nate or whatever, he's over here, and her and her camp are all over here in a different bubble. So this is kind of the only person she can kind of like reach out to, and she has to do this whole sob story thing and blah 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 because
I thought that was I think she's playing him, but I thought that was a little bit, granted she wants the information, but at the end of the day I definitely think she's a little bit like, did my husband kill her? Like, what, he has the capability of doing this, and I don't think she thought that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that thinks that.
I'm not. There's so many inconsistencies. Right. Like, for example, when they got off, right? When she got off, and she knows the defense that they use, that her client is a expert killer. He's a hunter. He knows exactly how to take the jugular, and then it's a soft kill, and it's humane, and all this stuff. And then she walks out the courtroom with this grim smirk on her face, and you're like,
awesome,
the devil incarnate, this broad,
it's
right?
It's the ultimate win. It's so exactly what JB said. No matter what, it's the win that counts.
Exactly. So, but at the same time, there has to be some cognizance of this guy is a murderer. At the end of the day, he's a murderer, and his daughter's a murderer now too. I just helped this family of murderers. But that's exonerate them. Like, you have to. There has to be a degree of reflection when it comes to that, and she had none of that. I know. Yeah, JB was saying like, look, okay, yeah, I won the case. It should have been more like, okay, well, we won the case, but these people.
Well, no, I think she did still save some stuff, because we were talking that she did know that Annalise, or not the daughter,
Eloise.
That's incredibly similar. The daughter did murder the guy, and she still found a way to not pin it on her. Right. I think that was like pretty awesome too, that she wasn't just like, okay, well, it is her, let's just shift it to incriminate your daughter. It was still, let's get you off, right? Like, in this way.
Didn't she say we couldn't just throw her to the wolves? Who said that? So I feel like someone said that.
I don't know, but that goes contradictory to the first episode where they say like, introduce a new suspect.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's like an easy out
for
them to do that, but because she didn't want to throw her to the wolves like that. She was like, okay, I'm that good, I can still get us off without this huge weapon.
Right.
I want to talk about Annalise's ruthlessness, because I know that it's something that we brought up in both episodes, and I started to really notice something, especially in this episode, and I noticed that Annalise is definitely married to her job. So I'm wondering if the writers are going to ever explore her happiness, because it seems like there's a motive for everything. She doesn't seem really happy in her marriage. She seems like when she was, having an affair with Nate, it was a lot about the sex. Like, doesn't seem like there's much substance. So how does her happiness come into play? And is that going to be her tragic flaw as the hero of this episode? Is that going to be the end to her when finally some happiness sneaks in there and then it really dashes her spirits? Like, is that what it's going to be?
Well, I mean, I feel like when you think about a character as complex as her, like, clearly something or many things happened to make somebody that way, in a sense where they don't care that they just got a murderer off and that they know that somebody else murdered it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's almost right in front of our face, and I don't know if it will make her character fall, but I feel like it will be uncovered to what, like, we will get more into why she is the way she is. I definitely think so.
Not to do because I know you guys will probably get sick of this, so this is probably the last time I do it this episode. But as far as like just comparing the characters, like Olivia from Scandal's character, there's like, as much as all the drama she goes through, there's like some silver lining with her happiness. There doesn't seem like any silver lining with this character. Like, it just seems so grim. Like, the situation with her husband is this, okay, well, we know where he ends up, right?
Right.
We see what's going on with the boyfriend. That is not a passionate love type of relationship. So where
The silver lining is the cases that she wins.
Yes,
it's the win.
that's the
It's
smile.
She is a drug addict
That is her only-
to law cases. She gets high off of these things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, that would have to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good analogy. I was trying to figure out, like, what would be her end goal? I mean, what is she working towards? And it doesn't really seem like there is anything. I mean, she's kind of at the top of her game.
She like really doesn't want to
So-
have kids, or at least with Sam, she doesn't want to have kids.
Right.
You know, she's at this point in her career where she is. I think she's burying herself in work because that's really the only thing that she has some sort of control over.
Yeah, that's her only solace.
And like anyone, you know, she freaks out and she's unsure of herself when she's talking to Sam and she's like, I don't know if I'm going to win this one. And he says, you say that every time. And
Right.
it's like she gets so high when she wins. It's like, I felt defeated and now I'm the queen. Like that's where she's at. Like that's her happiness right now, but I'm wondering if she's ever going to achieve personal happiness. Like I hope, like what Steph said, I hope that we find out a little bit more about what makes her tick, why she is the way she is,
Right.
what happened when she was younger. I hope to learn about some past relationships. How did her and Sam get together? You know, it's like there's so many things, and it's a network show, so we're gonna have plenty of episodes to
And hopefully they tap into
take
that.
from.
They're gonna have to tap
Yeah.
into that at one point or another, just so we can become more involved and become more attached to the character.
For me, though, the thing, not that it worries me, that's a really dramatic way of saying what I want to say, but it's the only word that comes to mind. But it's like we have three things going on at once. You know, like we have Sam's death, we have Lila's death, and we have the case, whatever current case is in the episode.
Right.
What happens when we find out about Sam's death? Like, if that's clearly probably going to be, you know, strung out through the season. You know what I mean? Like, are they setting themselves up to, like, what's going to happen next season? You know what I mean? Like, it's very, to me, that there's I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody else, one of the main characters will die next season. Right. You know what I mean? But it's very... Asher. You hate him. I don't not like him. Do you guys, like, have a problem with Asher?
I like him.
Hey, that's too long of a pause.
Okay.
It's like I can do without Asher.
Yeah, I mean, if he died, it wouldn't be like, oh no, Asher.
Exactly.
No, I don't think that we've given Asher a chance, guys. Let's be real. Her episode was last week. We learned a lot about Michaela and who she is, and Wes, obviously. We learned a little bit about Connor, too.
Mm-hmm.
But we really haven't
learned a lot about him.
We haven't learned a lot about Asher, except for the fact that his dad got him into the law school. And that he's kind of a douche. But I also...
And that he's missing when it comes to the four.
Oh, yeah.
That's something else that I saw when we watched it again. When it's the four of them with the body, when they're saying 2 vote one way and 2 vote the other way, Asher's not there.
Yeah.
So at first, I thought that Asher was going to be with Annalise when they say, like, they're taking too long, but it wasn't him. So Asher's...
We haven't seen where he is.
He's not there.
Yeah.
But I also think he does add some comic relief to the
I
show.
like
So,
him.
I mean, I wish...
I don't have anything against
hopefully
him.
in later episodes we'll get a little bit more of him. I mean, granted, a lot of it is at his expense.
Yeah.
Right.
But
his character is fun. It is comic relief.
I also just really like that it's really different than who he is on Orange is the New Black. He plays Officer Bennett, if you guys didn't know. And it's such a...
It's night and day, yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a different person.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We need to give him a chance.
well, I definitely buy him
Yeah.
as the douche in this universe, for sure.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm missing the douche.
You're not... I'm picking it up. Like, I mean, he just seems like the, daddy's boy. That's
What?
Just like,
You're gay?
Like...
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's just like...
Right.
Jeez, yeah.
Dude, shut up.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just... I think, too, because he hasn't done anything so, like... great yet, so for me he's kind of still just in the background.
Yeah.
I don't think I
Right.
have
Oh,
an
well, I mean,
opinion.
when he was like looking for the receipt, it's like, great, you found a receipt. You don't have to go, like all over the place. Like, okay, dude, chill.
Something we didn't talk about.
Calm down.
We found out who used to live in Wes's apartment. His name is Rudy.
Yes, Rudy. I swear Rudy and Rebecca were banging, and Rebecca, those bite marks and claw marks are definitely Rebecca's.
And
Right,
then she
we'll put-
moved next door? She used to live there and moved next door? What
No,
do you
she
think?
lived next door and he lived there and they had sex and then he moved out and
That's
she
like-
was still there.
That's a whole other storyline that they gave us like just a name this
But
episode.
she knew that she's been in the apartment before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, so much so that she knew about the floorboards in his like bathroom cabinet.
Right, of course.
Like, that's pretty
do we think that
detailed.
that's Lila's phone?
I think it's Lila's phone.
Oh, yeah.
Or do we think
I
that it's her
automatically
phone?
thought it was Lila's phone.
I thought it was Lila's phone too.
It's so funny. I thought it was the football player's phone.
Well, it had a flower case on it. So.
I didn't see that.
See? Gotta watch it again.
It's definitely not a full phone. Yeah, it was definitely girly.
Yeah, it was a girly phone.
It's like a white case with flowers.
And why does Wes keep giving this girl who's obviously street smart stupid advice? Like, don't talk to the cops without an attorney present. Shut up, Wes, with these... Like, that's the worst way to try to get a girl's attention. Give her the most worst obvious advice in the world.
But he's not trying. He already has her attention. They're already sleeping together. I was going to say a bad word. Yeah.
Well, no.
Not at that point.
Well,
not when he's giving her the lame advice.
Yeah,
but to be fair,
not sly, dude. Not doing it.
Before he gave her the lame advice, she came over to take a shower at his place, and she dropped her towel before the door shut.
Before she shut the door.
So she was kind of like, okay, like check out.
Here I am.
Check out the goods.
Like check out the goods. Let you know what I got, and close the door. See you when I see you. When I get out of processing at the police station. You know,
maybe she's playing him because they have this big plot and they know that. I don't know. Rudy's dead too, I think.
I don't know. I think they're going to be the couple.
Rudy might be dead.
They're going to be the couple that we're looking out for throughout the season. Also, because I saw some interviews on ABC7 before I came here, and they were doing the press line together as a duo, and everyone else was single, walking the press line.
Interesting.
So
Connor wasn't with the IT guy.
No, unfortunately not. Remember, he doesn't do boyfriends.
That's right. He doesn't do boyfriends.
Anything else, guys?
I thought also too though. You know what's funny is that Connor totally broke a wall or character, or whatever we want to say, because in the first episode, he's like, I don't kiss and tell. And then he gets another piece of evidence and he's like, you guys will never know. Then he's clearly in the room with everybody on the phone so everybody can hear him talking to his boyfriend, not boyfriend.
Right. Yeah, but he doesn't say anything sexy. He just says, do you want to go to dinner? They make dinner plans.
But everyone knew that he was talking to like someone that he was with.
Right,
but that has nothing to do with the case in their minds. I mean, he's obviously, that's how it started for him. But for everybody else, they could
it's not
just
consistent.
Be like,
I see what you're saying, Steph. It's not really consistent, and that does make sense.
Still like but in the first place, though, we didn't know it was. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, I think he's just being cheeky before. He's like, oh
like
yeah,
he didn't like say to them like,
even though he like, because it's a pun on the fact that he totally like, hooked up to get that information.
No, I see what you're saying. I just think that it was like that. You say it was a little inconsistent with what. I think he would have kept that separate because he clearly could have kept that separate.
Yeah, just
but it
let
made
that
a
go
point.
To voicemail.
They made it a point to make it known that he was gay and that he was talking to somebody that there's some interest with.
See, if something like that happens, it seems to be deliberate. So maybe he's playing everybody on something that has to do with the rest of the whole story.
Maybe.
So I don't know. Yeah, is that it? We talked about everything. I mean, there's so much stuff. I even don't like really making predictions because I feel like an idiot. Like there's just so many potential theories at this point.
Right.
That it's kind of difficult to come up with.
I think all we've been doing is talking theory.
It's crazy. It's
Okay.
crazy.
So
well, how about we do you have news and gossip?
Yeah, let's go to news and gossip.
Okay.
News and gossip. I kind of sort of have news and gossip. So I mentioned it earlier, and the show is doing really well, and you mentioned it as well, Jillian, and How to Get Away with Murder, #1 in DVR. So I guess they're gonna have to start actually calculating DVR recordings in order to like capture ratings.
Well, they do.
No, I know they obviously do. But, I mean, they're going to become more prominent as.
Actually, it's really great. You know, with the ratings game. I mean, they calculate Hulu Plus, HBO Go. Right. You know, all of these things. All these numbers are counted in. So yeah, we're really excited. And guys, we really
#1.
I know.
How to Get Away with Murder.
Before we go, we really want to have some amazing guests on the show. So if you guys see a cast member that you really like, definitely tweet at them and let them know about our after show. Matt McGorry, who plays Asher, favorited my tweet with the link today, so I hope he watched it. But yeah, keep that up, and maybe you'll see some familiar faces with us sitting here.
So are we gonna go with predictions, or are we just gonna let this?
I think
we're gonna let this
we're
I think we talk predictions and theories like the whole episode for the most part. So until next week, where can we find you guys?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Stef Z with an F.
Nice. You guys can find me at JB_Zimmerman on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jillian Leff, on Facebook at Jillian Leff Official, and I start hosting American Horror Story next week, so be sure to tune in Wednesdays at 8:05 on AfterBuzz TV.
Wow. That's good stuff. I do. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Club Thaddeus, GQJedi.com. You can find me also here, America's Next Top Model, and Monday Night Football, Monday nights and Sundays. You can find me here for Black Jesus on Sundays. Until next time, AfterBuzzers.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.